Hi, this is Eldervi, and what you're going to see is the biggest mess in Aether history I produced so far. Figuring out a play against this team of plus 10s took me over 4 hours, while I could have actually beaten it within 5 minutes, and this is no lie. I spent my complete evening trying to come up with a solution just because I didn't want to pass this amazing chance for a Whale Hunter match. I had several, and I mean several misconceptions about this game, and I discovered all of them only later, so have fun seeing me struggle really hard on a match which I could have won just right off the bat. Unless this is again a misconception. Fuck me, I'm so done with the single map, I just can't think at all anymore. Funny enough, this happened 1 week prior to Fallen Edelgard, who would have destroyed this map, so happy old socks day for everyone like me sticking to vintage units. Who would have thought that legendary Edelgard could be considered vintage after just 1 year? Oh, yes. So, going into this match, I faced a plus 10 Hell, featuring plus 10 Hell? This joke never gets old. Running AR defense attack speed and Wings of Mercy, plus 10 dual left with more or less base kit, I guess the quicken pulse can be considered off the table, plus 10 Triandra with Amity Blooms, that's actually really cool, dual free ground orders and an HP attack seal which will be important later, plus 10 Ophelia with double life and death, lull attack res and joint drive attack, plus 10 Raphael with Spendthrift Bow, attack respond force, special fighter and of course fast safe deflect missile. And last but certainly not least, Sarah with her Kia stuff, push, times pulse and attack tactic. So the thing is, right off the bat, there was a very easy victory for this match by running my Micaiah Leon combo against it. I didn't check the numbers so I won't swear on anything, but with Mickey's res, which can effectively reach the 70s, and Leon's damage reduction and triangular adept effect, I am pretty confident I could have just placed these two on these two tiles, and everyone besides Hell, who is actually not even running DC for an easy turn 2 kill, would have suicided right in turn 1. Leon would have taken out ground orders Raphael, Ophelia, Sarah and Triandra, while Micaiah could have done the easy job beating by Lev, and this map could have been over. But for some reason, in the span of over 4 hours, I never thought once about using this team. Stupidity level 1. Great. Instead, let's use a Galeforce comp against an attack stacking enemy with melee traps. Why would you ever not want that? The most important task for Galeforce teams is to win the blade checks, no matter if you're using Heavy Blade or Flashing Blade. In this setup I was running Heavy Blade on Edelgard, Tiban and Dagger, and what I like especially about this team, Dagger is actually a viable Galeforce user even without Times Pulse, which I still don't have, thanks to my Hector's Ostia's Pulse. By the way, you know who has Times Pulse? Sarah. For whatever reason. To get Stillwater bound down to 1 I guess. Are you fucking kidding me? While Return Plus isn't doing a lot for this setup, one other thing surely is, Sarah's Kia stuff. Right now those attack numbers look rather manageable, especially considering Miller's -7 debuff which is currently visible. But Sarah will actually revert this debuff with her recovery stuff, targeting the unit within 4 spaces with the lowest HP. That's what the HP attack seal on Triandra does, it makes her and Ophelia reach the same HP. Therefore, both of them will be cleansed by Sarah and conveniently also get an attack speed boost of +6 on top. Now you might wonder why I'm running Miller over Freya, who would actually give me another attack boost of +3 and is a viable Galeforce user as well. The answer is simple. Sabotage attack. -7 attack to almost all enemies is so fucking valuable for Galeforce strats that it's really hard not to use it. And indeed, while Hell by Lev and Triandra all have respectable attack stats, 61 base attack on Triandra? What the fuck? Who gave her those numbers? They won't get near the stats of my units thanks to the huge shift in power Sabotage attack provides. Therefore, let's straight hop to the real terrors of this game. Ophelia with double life and death has 73 base attack, and while she will recover from Miller's debuff in her own turn, it will still be active during my turn when I'm trying to Galeforce. Always good to know. Therefore, it challenges at least the +6 buff she gets from Sarah. Together with her +4 drive and a lull, giving her effective +3 and negating most of the stuff my puny might do, she ends up at 79 attack. And then there's thick boy Raphael. 63 base attack, he cleanses himself from Miller Sabotage during battle with his Bond 4, while giving himself another +7 to the already +7 from Ophelia's and Hell's drive attack, +6 from Sarah's attack tactic, and freaking +14 effective attack from the Spendthrift bow, as he gets 7 attack while dropping mine by 7. That's 97 attack and special fighter on top. Good luck trying to Galeforce that dude. This must be the thickest attack meatball I've seen so far. Why am I here with a Galeforce team again? That's god level stupidity. With the trap placement on top, I have options to smite myself into the bolt traps, but not into the heavy traps, as the fortress and the lava tiles block my foot soldiers from smiting. Great. I must admit, if I wouldn't enjoy Galeforcing so much, I might have simply surrendered that. But playing maps like this kind of feels like being an underground profiler. Almost all the cards are on the table, now we only have to find that one solution in this maze which makes everything suddenly work together. So let's start with the trap on the right side below Ophelia. With either a double smite from Miller and Hector, or also a puny dance, I would be able to smite in any of the Galeforces. We've seen Ophelia's attack before though, 79. Daga can't match that. Tiban can barely match her attack thanks to Miller's Sabotage only getting cleansed in the enemy turn, but with the extra damage from Heavy Blade he would actually kill Ophelia with one strike even in a fake trap scenario, so he wasn't a viable Galeforce option either. Edelgard matches Ophelia's attack barely by forcing me into a smite and peony dance, as peony needs to stand in Edelgard's row in order to provide her +3 weapons drive. From there I could take out Ophelia and either Triandra or Sarah next. But what about a trap? Let's start with a trap dealing at least 40 damage. This would put Edelgard into Wings of Mercy range, allowing both Daga and Hector to hop in. Daga could challenge either Sarah or Triandra as well, but she would surely kill each of them with a single hit because of the trap damage, so there was no Galeforce option for her. Edelgard needs a second favorable Heavy Blade matchup, which Raphael doesn't provide, and with being damaged so much from the trap, she clearly wants to stay out of Hell's range for her final bow. The best option therefore would be to take out Triandra with Edelgard, Byleth with Hector, Sarah with Edelgard's last action and Raphael with Daga. If I wait for the bolt tower to strike first, the damage shouldn't be a problem. Tiban could just wait for everyone to finish and then position himself to further weaken Hell with his rain effect, and Hector should easily survive a single hit from her with a magnificent +9 shield session buff on top, as his Thunder Armor stops her from attacking twice. Guaranteed victory. Didn't see it though. I actually forgot about the fact that Kia stuff will only cleanse Miller's debuff in the enemy turn, and that Miller will apply it each round again. This made me believe that Ophelia had an attack stat of 86 instead of the 79 she truly had, and none of my Galeforce users could have beaten that stat. Stupid me. Let's go on for the sake of... I don't know what. What about less than 40 damage? This wouldn't put Edelgard into Wings of Mercy range, but I could still go in from the other side with Tiban. Right? Even though Tiban has a favorable matchup against Hell, her miracle effect would actually stop her from dying, and she would in fact counter him with a double moonbow attack, resulting in a very dead burp. So what about Tiban Byleth? He wins the Heavy Blade check, but a damaged Byleth would die in a single hit, so no chances of charging up Galeforce and a burp offered to the Ruler of Death in the round after that. Daga could probably reach Byleth with a combination of Hector's smite and Tiban's reposition as well, but she's more or less facing the same problem as Tiban. No Galeforce against the instantly dying Byleth, no survival chances against Hell. Unless Hell can't double her. 54 base speed, plus 10 from the ARD skill and plus 4 effective speed from her death skill makes her reach 68 speed for the speed check. Daga matches the 54 base speed and gets a huge boost from the Bride Shrine hitting her, so she'll end up at 64 speed, just barely enough in order not to get doubled. By killing both Triandra and Ophelia, Hel would be the next target in terms of HP to receive the buffs from Sarah's Kia stuff, giving her another +6 attack and speed. But actually this one will be wasted on Raphael, as the first condition is to have a penalty, and Hel being isolated doesn't suffer from Miller's sabotage attack, so again, this would be a clean victory. Didn't see it. I misread Kia stuff again, and you might know what's coming. I was under the impression that the +6 attack speed boost would go over to Hel instead, which would make her double and kill Dagger. This would indeed happen if I would kill Raphael, but not if I just placed Edelgard below the thick boy. What about a fake trap? This would obviously be the end. In this case, I wouldn't get anyone in without dying to Hel. I thought long about a way to get in Tibon with the help of Pathfinder, making Edelgard tank Hel once more, but I couldn't find a solution where they would be separated all the time, and without their solo effects, both of them would go down together. You already know what's coming, right? In fact, even the fake trap would have worked out. I could have killed Ophelia, which I didn't see before, then I could have killed Triandra and Byleth, and Edelgard could have just waited it out. Crazy? Not really. As I said before, Raphael would be the one getting cleansed by Sarah. So far so bad. Now, if I only had positioned Peony next to Edelgard at the start of the turn though, giving her 45 res 4, Edelgard would have actually been able to survive all of that crap. Hel would probably go in first and deal quite some damage, but with Edelgard's very fighter effect for being solo, she could have avoided certain death. The next one to attack would probably be Sarah. Or maybe Sarah even goes first because of the Razzle Dazzle? Doesn't matter, cause she does nothing. A big fat nothing. 5 damage if Hel goes first, 1 if Sarah goes first. It would of course open up the path for the now cleansed thick boy, but apart from the Miller cleanse, which I already considered with the bond, he wouldn't gain the Kia stuff buff on top since he already had attack tactics to begin with, and with Sarah moving down 2 tiles to attack, he would actually lose both the bond effect and Hel's drive, and therefore put me in a very comfortable Wings of Mercy situation for the upcoming round. But I missed the Kia stuff not cleansing Ophelia in my turn, missed Kia stuff going over to Raphael, and even missed him losing the bond and drive effect by leaving his allies. Stupid, stupid, stupid. I think this is worth a double level of stupidity. So, let's go over to the left side, because apparently there is no victory to be gained from the right side. With Peony's help, Tibon would win the heavy blade check against Hel with 73 versus 64 attack. In order to punch through a miracle weapon though, I would have needed a trap of at least 20 damage. On the other hand, a trap of 20 puts me out of the dive bomb range, and Hel's attack hitting my res makes me once more die, so Tibon Hel was again off the table. I don't think Bird Lagoos are into bones with Jelly anyways. So what about Tibon Byleth? He wins the heavy blade check, but even in case of a fake trap, Byleth negates his double with her NFU weapon effect, so no chances of charging up Galeforce again. Tibon once more benched. Daga sadly faced the almost exact same situation. She might win the heavy blade checks, but different from Tibon, she actually had to double with her own speed stat, which just wasn't happening against 72 and 75 effective speed. And these numbers are actually true for once, because of the double death and rain combination. Last option once again Edelgard. With a combination of a Smite and Peony, I could also get in Edelgard from this side. With Hel's 55 HP and the max bolt trap being at 50 damage, Hel's miracle would prevent her from dying no matter what. So let's start right off the bat with Byleth and Rhea. I think Edelgard would prefer that move anyways. Killing Byleth would activate Edelgard's unique Raging Storm Bee skill, granting her another action. Which is, to be honest, the coolest skill in this game. Just saying. I love legendary Edelgard just the way she is. Unlike some other versions of her. From there, there's only one option, killing Triandra. So far so good. And now, what? Killing Ophelia and hoping Sarah would either heal or stay in place and block Raphael from moving? Not if a combined attack of Hell and Sarah leads to Edelgard's death. So let's see. We'll once more start with the 40 damage plus trap, putting Edelgard in Wings of Mercy range. If I do the smiting with Miller, I could once more bring in Hector to shield Edelgard from Hell's attack after taking out Triandra. A 1 damage dealing Sarah, now even worse because of Hell's missing -4 from her death skill, would quite surely heal up her pal from the combined damage of my Bolt Tower and the high level Bolt Trap, and actually block Raphael from attacking me at all. Right? To be fair, I actually did see this solution, but I was afraid the AI would recognize the kill potential on Edelgard in case of a 50 damage trap and didn't dare to test it. I think this isn't enough for another increase. Please? The fake trap would actually behave just as on the other side, just that my killing path this time would be by left Triandra Ophelia, but I would actually end up in the exact same position, providing the exact same numbers as before. Now, a trap of 30 or below would shake things up a little. As we've seen before, the combined effort of Hell, Sarah and Raphael would bring me down to 14 health, so I would survive a 10 damage trap, but not a 20 or 30 damage trap. Unless I am indeed right and Sarah would heal up Raphael instead of moving down to attack. To be fair, I'm not completely sold on this. Everything in my AI knowledge tells me that she would heal, but there's always that tiny little voice in my head saying stuff like pre-combat and post-combat rules, so I don't know. I'm once more waiting for the smart people in the chat telling me if I was right or not. I could have secured my survival though if I had brought in Dagger with a combination of Peony's Guidance Stance and a Reaper of Tiburn through Pathfinder. Didn't see that either. So I actually could have won the game from both sides no matter if the trap was real or not, but I didn't see any of these solutions. So what the heck did I see? The play I actually went for is the most brain dead thing possible compared to all these wonderful solutions I just presented. First, I was calculating out the possibility of not killing either Raphael or Ophelia at all. If Edelgard took the trap on the left, I could have re-put in Tiburn from the right and just placed him on the trap below Ophelia. With Edelgard ending her turn below Raphael, this would actually create a choke point where neither Ophelia nor Raphael could attack from. Cool. Edelgard could tank Hell while Tiburn tanks Sarah. If the trap on the left was real, I could have tanked Hell up to a 30 damage trap, and the one above could have been secured by Wings of Mercy Hector. In case of a fake trap, and to be fair, I assumed it was fake, the real trap just makes so much more sense below Ophelia. You would always want your Hell to be outside of the bolt trap's range just in order to save her HP and to keep up that miracle effect. Tiburn would actually have to face check the trap. With a nice little speed boost from Peony's Stance and her Fortify Res, which Edelgard wouldn't need as much, my speedy burp would actually be fast enough in order to avoid Sarah's double. All the speed stuff on him did turn out to be helpful at the end. I knew there would be that one day when it came down to him outspeeding a mage in order to survive. Tiburn would have survived Sarah's attack up to a 40 damage bomb below his feathered butt. But not in combination with the stupid Bolt Tower, which would hit him straight in the face for 30 damage. So any trap with more than 10 damage would have caused me to lose my burp and probably also a few other units. Get out of here, Speedy Tiburn. This is so frustrating. Sometimes it seems like every piece is just in the wrong spot. Assuming you missed the 6 win conditions earlier. I was nearly down to just try the left side and surrender if the trap was fake, which I assumed it was. But then I found one last shimmer of hope. Thought that last strat was crazy? Be prepared for this. Step 1. Smite in Edelgard with Miller. Step 2. Notice my desperation level? Repo Edelgard with Tiburn. I agree, this is nuts. Didn't I say something before like both of them die by being together? Who cares? So, for the last time, I promise. Let's start with a trap of 40 plus damage. This is a veteran player. 110 golden thrones back at the time told me that this player barely ever missed the top 3k since the beginning of AR. This speaks for an upgraded trap. Why not? They did give their Bolt Tower some levels and even brought it to the map out of its bonus season, which I never have, so they might have been interested in damaging their enemy at some point. A 40 or 50 damage trap would bring Edelgard below 50% health. So let's attack Ophelia. Wait, what? Without Peony she wouldn't win the heavy blade check, and with Tibber next to her she wouldn't even activate her Raging Storm. Fine. See, I never thought I could win the heavy blade check against Ophelia in the first place, so why would it matter now? I've made a full circle of stupidity and came back with something actually good. Edelgard turn over with her cooldown at 3. Entrance Peony. Peony goes in with Wings of Mercy, refreshing Edelgard. Edelgard awakens by the kiss of the fairy maid and takes out Triandra. Cooldown 1, Raging Storm activates. Hector comes in with Wings of Mercy and takes out Byleth. Edelgard kills Sarah, Galeforce activated. Edelgard takes out Raphael. Hector tanks Hell thanks to his buddies negating her follow-up attack. Neat. So what about a fake trap? In case of a fake trap I needed Peony and Dagger as a safety net, so sadly no Fortify bonuses, but it can't be helped. Right? There just wasn't any other solution yet. Peony can't reach Edelgard in that case, so I can't take out Ophelia. Edelgard will instead take the trap and kill Byleth. I figured that the trap below Triandra was probably the real one. Edelgard takes out Byleth and activates Raging Storm. Then she kills Triandra and last but not least Raphael. Dagger repos Peony to dance Tiban. He kills Ophelia, not granting him the Galeforce he was hoping for, but with both of my carries being at full health, they can easily take the hits from Sarah, Hell and the Bolt Tower. Neat. This actually also works for the trap dealing 10 or 20 damage. Only the 30 damage trap would have caused issues for both Tiban and Edelgard. But who runs a 30 damage trap anyways? You either stop before or you go the whole way. It was risky, but it was at least something. I had guaranteed win conditions for the trap dealing 40 or 50 damage, and at least 50% if not even more success chance for the trap being between 0 and 20 damage. This looked as good as it would ever get. Probably. Why would the trap be exactly 30 damage? So I got my units into position to strike.
Time to go. Let's get moving. Good morning. Got him. Right, boss.
I was constantly monitoring every single step just to make sure I didn't miss anything, and when my Bolt Tower hit, it was finally time.
Like this. Your plan.
The moment of truth.
Need something?
Anything but 30 damage. Oh, come on! 30? Really? Who stops at 30? Stupid crap. Edelgard is just out of Wings of Mercy range. But look at that. Look who actually is in Wings of Mercy range. My little burb. I'm gonna spare you another half hour of Fury crafting. At this point I actually had to gamble on the traps.
Time to go.
With the one below Ophelia being real, I was almost certain that the one below Triandra had to be real as well. It makes the most sense. You are far safe protected by Raphael, so you want to protect your only dancer from a short range attack. So despite everything I said earlier, I gambled. Kinda. And I was right. Sadly, I couldn't just follow my earlier plan because Tiban would die against Sarah once that Bolt Tower hit him. But with him being in Wings of Mercy range, I suddenly had totally different options.
If you say so.
I hopped in with Dagger's Wings of Mercy and took out Ophelia. Edelgard continued her train wreck and took out Triandra,
Understood.
charging up her Galeforce. Peony reached Tivan with
morning.
Wings of Mercy, granting him another action, which he used to take out Raphael.
Where's the loot? Huh?
Last, Hector went in and took out Sarah,
Let's get moving.
leaving only Hell alive.
Tja!
I knew Edelgard would survive a single attack from Hell based on my very first
Time
calculations
to
with a
go.
30 damage trap, so I could easily make her block Hell's path and tank a hit, dealing
Understood.
valuable damage on top. I knew I would have to tank another hit from Hell in order to bring her down to miracle range, and this time it would be a charged up Moonbow. Therefore I made sure Hector would be safe, as he was the one who could actually tank it, and started to take out the buildings one by one to weaken Hell's AR defense skill. She proved to be a very hard nut to crack, but as expected, Hector was able to survive that crucial Moonbow.
I am death itself.
And out of all my crazy high attack tanks,
Good
it was
morning.
finally small little Peony who finished the job. With this, I finally ended my most difficult Galeforce match ever. Not exactly the way I wanted, not as safe as I wanted, but whatever. If it doesn't burn below your fingernails to try out the same thing right away, Galeforce is clearly not the enjoyable option for you. I was really shocked when I was doing the research and images for this video to find out on how many ends I actually failed to see the best solution, which was right in front of me. But hey, a win is a win, right? I do hope you enjoyed this clear nevertheless. I am always most proud of Galeforce plays, and this one was indeed the biggest cherry I ever had on a cake. I'm actually curious, do you guys have Galeforce teams in your current AR offense, and which units are you using? Are you maybe enjoying the power of the new fallen Edelgard? Let me know in the comments below and inspire me. I have yet to build a melee Galeforce team out of Fire Season. I would also super appreciate your like and subscribe if you want to see me suffer in the future as well. Without YouTube, I swear, I would have surrendered this stupid match after 2 minutes. Look what you made me do. So, until next time with another crazy Whaleside story. See ya!